For most folks in the big town, it's just another workaday Thursday. But out at the ballpark, things are different. Far from the plaza, far from the Flatiron District, out in Queens, there's baseball today as the Mets try and complete a sweep of the Marlins. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets get set to finish off their series with the Miami Marlins. The Mets have won the first two games of this series, and it has been a well-pitched extravaganza. It all started here on Tuesday night as two aces coming off shoulder problems last year showed that they are back in top form. Josh Johnson struck out 9 in his 6 2/3. Johan Santana bested him by striking out 11, and the Mets were able to scratch out a 2-1 victory in Game 1 of the series. Then last night, a different kind of pitcher's duel. The soft-tossing left-hander Mark Burley, who works at such a rapid pace, held the Mets at bay for 7 innings, and the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey did the same to the Marlins. The difference, a 2-run homer by David Wright against Burley that gave David the all-time RBI lead for the Mets and gave the Mets a 2-1 lead, and they rode that out to a 5-1 victory. And David has had important home runs for the Mets so far this year.
Well, every home run he's hit this season has given the Mets the lead. And with a lot of guys gone now, David's the last holdout from that 2006 Met team that everything was built around. He's got to be the guy that gets the big hits.
And today, David Wright will lead a team of 9 homegrown Met players. First time in 41 years that's happened. And on the mound, it'll be John Neese.
Well, John Neese is off to a 2-0 start. He flirted with the no-hitter. Is that a portent right there? Is it a good portent and maybe another no-hit possibility here today? He's going for number 3 today. He has struggled against the Marlins in his young career, 1-4 lifetime against them. This season, left-handers, though, so far, hitting a paltry 105 against Jonathan.
Butterflies are free, you know. Ricky Nolasco on the other side for the Marlins. Nolasco always seems to start well against the Mets, but ultimately they usually hit him around.
Well, 64 and 51 lifetime. He was once the ace of this staff. You know, between 2008 and 2010, he won 15, 13, and 14 games respectively. Last year tapered off to 10 and 12. He's off to a good start, 2-0 lifetime. He is 5-7 against the Mets. So he's had his ups and downs. It's a good pitching matchup today. I'm looking forward to it.
So the Mets go for the sweep of the Marlins with John Neese on the mound, leading a homegrown team. Wherever you are in the big town, tune on in and stay with it. Mets and Marlins, all the action on SNY. by Geico, by Lexus, by the New York Lottery, and by Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. For the latest news, behind-the-scenes photos, special offers, and much more, follow the Mets on Twitter and Facebook at Mets.com/connect. Let's take a drive around the majors presented by Mazda. Yoenis Cespedes tied the game with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 14th, and then Keila Kahue won it with a base hit for Oakland. Can you say that 3 times fast?
No desire.
As Oakland beat the White Sox in 10 innings, 5-4. The Rangers beat the Yankees, made it 2 out of 3 in that series. They're now 15-4 on the year, as Adrian Beltre had a homer and drove in 3. And Chipper Jones, a day after his 40th birthday, hit a home run on his birthday and got the go-ahead hit in a 3-run ninth last night. Chipper is rolling, so are the Braves. They beat the Dodgers 4-2. They're now 12-7 on the season. John Neese set to take the mound on a Thursday afternoon in New York. Mets and Marlins. First pitch coming up from Citi Field in just a moment. For the meeting at home plate today.
Oh,
that's just outstanding.
Exciting. Never happened to me.
No? Didn't have pretty little girls come with you to home plate? Here's your fourth starting lineup for the Marlins, who have scored just 4 runs in 4 games on their current road trip. Ozzie Guillen's team now second to last in the National League in runs scored, leading only the Pirates. The only change in the lineup today, well, a couple of them, right-hand bats of Austin Kearns and Brett Hayes are in there, so it's an all right-hand hitting lineup for the Marlins today against John Neese.
Well, John Neese, his 4th start. Remember his last outing? That was against the Giants, coming off the big signing of the contract. He really, the hardest we've seen him throw, Gare, he was throwing 92, 93, and ironically, he got hit hard early. But for you to look at his numbers, you know, he only gave up 3 runs in 6 innings and no decisions, so he's settled down. And Alexis Mets defense. Well, we said that at the top of the show. That's always nice to see if you're a Met fan, because you want to build from your farm system. I think important to note, out in left field, Jordany Valdespin gets his first start out in left.
Not only his first big league start, but the first time he's ever played left field anywhere. He's a middle infielder whom the Mets force-fed into center late in the spring and at Buffalo. But with the injury to Jason Bay, they've worked him out in left field the last couple of days. And get out there, kid, and try your hand at it. Jose Reyes leads things off, and he takes a strike from Nice, and we're underway. Reyes, who was the headliner coming into this series, has been kind of quiet. Just 1 hit and 8 at bats in the first 2 games of the series, and the curveball from Nice misses outside, a ball and a strike.
Well, the first 4 batters in this Marlin lineup, that's Reyes down to Kearns at cleanup, are all hitting on the interstate against left-handers.
And a shot, and Tejada knocks it down and grabs it for the out. Well, Reyes hit the ball hard, but his successor at shortstop able to make the play for the first out of the game.
Had him positioned perfectly, didn't they? Bullet by Reyes. Nice play by Ruben, who has been tremendous at shortstop thus far in this young season. Very steady. Nothing fancy. That's what I like about him. Good fundamentals. Fundies, if you wish. Fields the ball properly. Gets the job done.
Fundies, that's your word.
The Bay of Fundy.
Here's Emilio Bonifacio. 1 for 8 in this series. If you take the top 3 guys in the order, Reyes, Bonifacio, and Ramirez, on this road trip, they are now a combined 3 for 46. So the Marlins just are not getting any production from the top of their batting order. They started their trip in Washington, a rain-shortened 2-game series, and scored just 2 runs in those 2 games, and just 2 runs in 2 games here. And a call strike to Bonifacio, 2-1.
This is a leap year, right? So we have 5 more days in this month. They add the extra day.
That's February they have the extra day, not April.
I'm losing my mind. So we only got 5 days left.
There is no April 31st ever, any year. 2-2 now to Bonifacio.
I stand corrected. But it is a leap year.
Yes, and all the folks who were born on February 29th were very happy to celebrate their once every 4-year birthday.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Well, just think. You're 60 years old, you only have 15 birthdays.
I bet you Al was a leap year baby.
Al, our cameraman?
On camera, too. Very, very important camera.
He's managed to stay young. 2-2 to Bonifacio. And Nice throws the curveball down, 3-2. Bonifacio has become the everyday center fielder for Miami. They've been looking for a center fielder for years. It looked like Cameron Maben was going to be the guy for a while, but they gave up on him, traded him to San Diego. 3-2 is hit in the air to center field. Neuenhuis edges over, and that's the second out. So Bonifacio retired. Nice has set down the first 2, and Hanley Ramirez will step in. That last start for Nice against the Giants, he had the 1 bad inning. He gave up the home run to Angel Pagan, an RBI double to Buster Posey, but he was able to work around a lot more trouble in that game and allowed just 3 runs in 6 innings.
And it turned into a very good start, and I think something that could have been started out a negative and turned into a very big positive. And he's always shown the ability to make the adjustments out there. I've always liked him when he's on the mound pitching.
Here's Hanley, who's 0 for 7 in this series, and the first pitch curveball outside for ball 1. Well, the Mets certainly believe that about Nice, too. That's why they rewarded him with a 5-year contract extension. R.A. Dickey got back on the beam last night after that water balloon game in Atlanta. Ball and a strike to Ramirez. Dickey was tremendous last night.
Well, he just improved his record up to, 3-1? So that's a good start for R.A.
7 strong innings, gave up just the home run to Infante, and Mark Burley was almost as good, but the Marlins failed to turn a double play. That opened it up for David Wright, and Burley hung a changeup on 0-2, and David hit a 2-run homer, and that was enough to beat Burley.
You know, sometimes, it's a 1-run ball game, and Burley was cruising right along through 5 and was really 1 out away from getting out of the inning. And you're throwing so good, you're in such command, you kind of forget. The guy hitting behind Wright, Duda and Hairston are struggling, and Wright hits lefties so well, but you get your blood up and your competitive juices get going.
Popped up by Ramirez. Ike Davis flips the glasses down on a cloudy day, and that retires the side. Sometimes you need sunglasses on a cloudy day. If your future's so bright, you got to wear shades.
the same breath with, Straw and Piazza's and some of these guys. It's quite an honor, and hopefully there's some more to come.
Today, only the third time in Mets history they've ever had 9 players who were signed or drafted, never played for any other organization, in the lineup at the same time. Jordany Valdespin gets his first big league start. Look at all the left-hand hitters, 7 of them today against Ricky Nolasco.
Well, there's Nolasco's numbers thus far in this young season in 3 starts. Southern California native.
Kirk Nieuwenhuis leads off, and he takes a strike from Nolasco. Nieuwenhuis 1 for 7 in this series, hitting at .309. The corner's in against Kirk, who's not shown any inclination to bunt, and he fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Now those corners will move back.
And the Coors Light Marlin defense, which has been a little bit lackadaisical and suspect so far. It's cost them 2 games, their defense. And Austin Kearns gets his second start out in left field.
And the curveball from Nolasco misses 1 and 2. Interesting that you use the word lackadaisical, because that's the word that Giancarlo Stanton used after the game last night. He said his team is not playing with the urgency that they need to, and they look lackadaisical on the field.
Well, I think that one of the big plays last night, the first game was when Sanchez was last night. Sanchez wasn't guarding the line too much, and then Reyes had a double play ball where he kind of olayed the hard slide and didn't complete the double play.
Nieuwenhuis socks one to deep right field. Back goes Stanton to the track, back near the wall, reaches, can't make the play. Nieuwenhuis around second, on his way to third as Bonifacio retrieves, and in at third base is Nieuwenhuis with a stand-up triple. Well, unless they scored an error, it'll be the first big league triple for Kirk Nieuwenhuis.
Well, Stanton gets back there quick and just has it and botches it. Tough chance. This has got to be a trip, so you don't give an error on that to the home.
Nope. They've scored it a triple.
That's a tough chance.
Certainly not an easy play for Stanton.
And Nieuwenhuis is hustling out of the box here. He thinks he might have it, and he gets it in gear.
So first big league triple for Nieuwenhuis as he continues to establish all sorts of firsts for himself over these last 3 weeks. Infield back as Tejada takes a curveball for a strike. Tejada 1 for 8 in this series, just 6 for 35 over his last 10 games after a hot start.
So in at the corner is a bit surprising, I guess. Guillen worried that his team has not been hitting and scoring runs.
Tejada has been the best on the Mets team at getting a runner in from third with less than 2 out. He's 3 for 3 at it this year. The team as a whole only 39%, which is way below what you'd like. Daniel Murphy on deck.
Very surprised the infield is in. Well, actually, the first baseman is in. Ramirez has moved back, and they're really playing him to the opposite field and very, very shallow in right field.
Tejada's driven in 7 runs for the year. Ozzie Guillen has seen his team fail to score. Can't afford to fall behind too much the way they've been swinging the bats. Here's the 2-1, and Tejada hits it out to right center. That'll get the run in. Over comes Stanton to get it. Nieuwenhuis can cruise on in with the first run of the game. Sacrifice fly for Tejada, and it's 1-0 New York. So Ruben now 4 for 4 getting that runner in from third. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Daniel Murphy put in the 3rd spot in the batting order for this series and has thrived with it, going 3 for 8. And over a longer span, the last 8 games, Murphy hitting .406. 7th in the National League right now with 23 base hits. And with the Mets having won the first 2 games of this series, Terry Collins seems inclined to leave the top part of the batting order exactly the way it is, with Tejada hitting 2nd behind Nieuwenhuis, Murphy and Wright 3 and 4.
Well, with the emergence of Nieuwenhuis playing so well, it's enabled Murph to go in that 3 position, and I like that, and Wright in cleanup. And then it gives your lineup more depth. And, you know, we Mets have to look to Duda and Davis to get it going. If they get it going in the middle, and you see the umpires right there, Dale Scott behind the plate is the crew chief.
0-2 from Nolasco, and the curveball bounced slowly to second. Infante makes the play on Murphy for the 2nd out. Well, here's David Wright, now the Mets franchise leader in RBIs after this blow.
Well, he stayed back on a changeup there, didn't sink, just kind of stayed out over the plate, and David made him pay. And congratulations to Dave.
735 runs batted in. The only other active player to lead his franchise in RBIs is Todd Helton, whom the Mets will see tomorrow in Denver. David Wright now 4th in the National League in batting at .364, and he attacks the first pitch fastball from Nolasco, 0-1.
Well, Nolasco is one of those guys with the great curveball. Got Murph out with that curve. He's got a very deceptive curve, but if he just had a couple extra miles on his fastball, I think he'd be a big winner.
Well, he's throwing 89-90 today as it's grounded behind the bag and right under the glove of Hanley Ramirez off the tarp. Wright will head to second as Kearns has to chase it down, and David Wright has a 2-out double.
Well, backhand here. Remember, this is the first year for Hanley at 3rd base. And we love this very super slow. Look at the eyes on the ball. It's almost like got a follow through like DiMaggio, doesn't he? I remember Ralph Kiner when Wright first came up. Ralph said that the swing reminded him of DiMaggio's a little bit.
You know, watching film with DiMaggio, I can see that. Only the 2nd double of the year for Wright, so he's in scoring position for Lucas Duda, who's had a couple of big late hits the last 2 days. Ozzie Guillen wants to see if Hanley Ramirez is okay after he made that diving attempt at 3rd base. Trainer comes out as well. So 2 balls hit hard by the Mets that the Marlins had a chance to field. Would have been tough plays in either case, but Stanton and Ramirez both turn into extra base hits. Here's Hanley on that last double.
I think I've got his right hand, his throwing hand. I bet. So he's all right. I mean, come on, rub some dirt in it.
So now Duda, who's 3 for 7 in this series, had that hit off the hand of Mojica to drive in the go-ahead run on Tuesday night, and then last night had a big base hit in the 8th inning to drive in an insurance run. Trying to pick up Wright from second with 2 out.
It's been a struggle for Lucas, and they've been pitching him up and in, and he's a classic left-hand hitter. He likes the ball down. He's got to learn to lay off that up and in pitch and look down into his power, his strength.
1-1 to Duda, with Ike Davis hitting 6th in the order today, waiting on deck. Mets throwing all sorts of left-handed bats against Nolasco, and the lefties are hitting .292 against Ricky Nolasco despite his early success this year. Crowds Duda, and it's 2-1. Hard to believe Nolasco is now in his 7th year with the Marlins. Came up in '06. The Mets rattled him quite a bit early in his career. lately, it seems every game he pitches against the Mets, he pitches pretty well, but has the one bad inning and winds up on the short end. Good changeup, and it's 2-2 to Duda. Velasco is just 2 victories shy of the all-time Marlins record. Dontrelle Willis had 68 wins as a Marlin. Velasco now with 66.
And they acquired him back in 05 in the offseason for Juan Pierre, and he came over with Sergio Mitre and Reno Pinto.
And Velasco was the throw-in in that deal. He was the third guy. Sergio Mitre was the frontline player in that deal. Mitre spent just 1 year in the Marlins rotation and has kicked around ever since.
Mitre went to the Yankees a couple years ago.
Pinto had, a couple of decent years coming out of the bullpen, but never had enough control to last.
He was never had enough control, and he couldn't do the push-ups away from the table.
Push-aways. 20th pitch of this opening inning coming up for Velasco. Right at second and 2 out. 2-2 to Duda. Ground ball down to third. Another chance for Hanley. This time he handles it cleanly. High throw, but Sanchez able to stay on the bag. And Duda retired to end the inning. But the Mets get off to a fast start. Kirk Neuenhuis leading off the first inning. Hits a triple that Mike Stanton, now known as Giancarlo, couldn't secure. Mets have a 1-0 lead after 1. Kearns, who had a great spring training for the Marlins and made the ball club after a part-time year in Cleveland last year, takes a call strike. Kearns, who started out looking like he was going to be a star in Cincinnati, has become a part-time player the last 3 or 4 years.
He does not like the ball end. Look how far off the plate he is, too. And they still just go in there and get right in where all of his pots and pans are, and forks and knives, and spatula. They find it.
Potato peeler? There it is, inside to him. 2 balls and a strike. Kearns 2 for 9 to start the year. Hit a home run against Jonathan Papelbon last week when the Marlins played the Phillies. Omar Infante on deck, then Giancarlo Stanton, and East throws the high fastball by him. 2-2.
That was a slow bat right there. I don't know if he was ready.
Kearns now 31 years old, his 3rd start this year for Florida. I see I did it.
That's right.
Florida. Tejada charging and easily throws out Kearns for the first down. They're still in Florida, just have a different name. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Brooklyn Burger, the premium steakhouse burger and the official burger of the New York Mets. Be sure to visit Keith's Grill at Citi Field, located on the field level behind section 132 at the promenade level behind home plate, to enjoy Keith's favorite Brooklyn burgers. Now, I had not seen that video before. I'm sorry.
I hammed it up.
Yes, you did.
They've got 2 concession stands in the stadium now, I understand, on different levels.
We just read the promo section, 132 on the field level and the promenade behind home plate.
I think it's left field line. If you folks don't know where those numbers are.
There it is.
A lot of thought went into the burgers, trust me.
I will say that, you know, I've seen you do your Just for Men commercials. I've seen you act on Seinfeld as Fonte rolls it foul. I would say that your acting technique here is a little less refined than it was in those earlier efforts.
Look at the style, though, with putting the ketchup on.
Well, you always had good hands.
That's true.
Just make sure you don't get anything on your tie there. And how were you dressing that burger? What exactly were you putting on there?
I was putting, well, it's a whole lot of stuff. We got a game to do here.
It's only incidental. 1-2 to Infante, who homered for the only Miami run last night. And Neese strikes him out with a fastball. First strikeout of the afternoon for John Neese.
Well, off to a good start. This is probably the best start Neese has ever been off to. And I mean, as far as, I'm not talking about wins and losses, I'm talking about command and stuff.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Giancarlo Stanton, 1 for 7 in this series. And he takes a strike. Stanton, 58 at bats, still no home runs after hitting 34 a year ago. And we've been keeping track of this because it's so stunning. Another lost night for Albert Pujols last night.
How about that start he's off to?
He's now 0 for his last 19. He's hitting .222 with no home runs and 72 at bats. That's hard.
10-year deal.
And the problem is that nobody else around him is performing either, and the Angels are 6-12 after spending a considerable amount of money. I mean, C.J. Wilson pitched really well last night, but he got the huge contract and he took the loss.
And they're losing early today.
Yep, down 1-0 to Tampa Bay, facing the young lefty Matt Moore.
Bobby Valentine trying to right the ship in Boston.
Swing and a miss. So Neese with back-to-back strikeouts pumped that up to 93 to get Stanton. 6 up and 6 down for Neese as Keith takes a bite. That's all. MLB.TV today to see every Mets out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Mets lead 1-0 as they come to bat in the home second. Ike Davis hitless in his last 11 bats as he steps in against Alaska, who flips a curveball in for a call strike.
Well, it's been a struggle for Ike. We just know getting around that. We all know that. Striking out a lot, out in front.
And nobody's bothering to throw him a fastball now. Why would you?
Well, they're going to throw him a fastball. It's out of the strike zone, and he's swinging at it. So they're going up the ladder, basically, up and down the ladder on Ike.
0-2 from Nolasco.
Well, that was down the pipe right there. Change up. See if he stays back. That's a change up 9 miles up in the Pepsi Porsche. Right? This is oh my gosh, like a pinball machine lighting up that kind of pitch. But see, he's way out in front.
Crowds him with the fastball just for show. 1-2. Well, the Mets are going to face 2 lefties in the series in Colorado that starts tomorrow night. Josh Thole on deck. And if Ike doesn't get it going today, you have to believe that he's going to sit at least one of those games. Little flare to the left side, and Reyes comes over and can't make the play. And Davis is safe at first. Well, those are 3 plays now that the Marlins have come close to making but didn't. Reyes played that a little nonchalantly and was unable to pick it off.
Can mix in a dive there, but didn't get it.
Well, it wasn't like he was sprinting after it. I think he thought it was going to be a much easier play.
That ball kind of was fading away from him, slicing.
They'll score a base hit, and Ike will take that. But between Stanton's attempt at Neuenhuis's triple that went in and out of his glove, Ramirez trying for Wright's double that went right under his glove, and now that one, the Marlins continue to play rather indifferently and kind of backing up what Stanton said last night about them being lackadaisical in the field. Here's Thole, who's off to a rip-roaring start. He's been on base 16 straight games to start the year. No other Met catcher has ever done that. And he pops one up behind third. Ramirez back into foul ground, and he runs it down right before he hits the tarp. Nicely done by Ramirez for the first out.
Velasco gets in the kitchen of both Davis and Thole back to back. Just goes to show you he's kind of throwing 89 miles an hour. You don't have to throw it through a brick wall to get in the hitter's kitchens.
So here is Jordani Valdespin making his first big league start. He got his first at bat the other night. Popped up on the first pitch he saw. Then he came in for defense the next night. Valdespin last year hit 17 home runs combined between AA and AAA. This year off to a good start in Buffalo. 276, couple of home runs in 17 games. He's a left-hand hitter, and he takes it wide from Nolasco for ball 1.
All right, we're going to kind of focus on Jose here. I've never liked the way Jose sets up and ready to move left, right, forward, back on contact. He's always upright and on his heels. That's on his heels right there. So how are you going to be quick reacting? And someone as quick as Jose. Jose's like Spider-Man, for crying out loud. I mean, he's so agile and quick. But when you're standing straight up and on your heels, you're not going to get the jumps. You got to be on the balls of your feet, ready to go, moving maybe one step in and then settling right before contact, so you're ready to go left, right. But he's always been one to be upright and sometimes on his heels, and that's why he gets bad breaks sometimes.
Is it as crucial for a middle infielder as it is for a corner infielder?
It's not as imperative. I mean, I always got down. I mean, I play back. First basemen play back when you're not holding a runner on. It's like playing as deep as Reyes, but I'm more set and ready to go than this. See, he's on his heels. So enough of that. I've watched Jose play. I mean, Jose is a fine shortstop. He's one of the best, obviously one of the best fielding shortstops in the game.
Now Nolasco ahead on Valdespin 1-2. Hayes sets up inside, and Valdespin fights it off. Jordani Valdespin, 24 years old, native of the Dominican Republic. Has come up through the Mets farm system, and, well, so is everybody else in the Mets lineup today. 9 homegrown players. Mike Davis, former first-round draft pick, leading at first. And the 1-2 to Valdespin. Again, he fights off the inside pitch. Valdespin has been a middle infielder his whole career. Last year, when the Mets had an open competition at second base, he was as talented and as athletic as anybody the Mets had out there during spring training. And it was that athletic ability that led the Mets to figure, well, what the heck, let's try him in the outfield. And so he's making his first big league start in left field. Prolonging this time at bat.
Well, we'll take a look at Infante, how he sets up for the pitch and possible contact. Now, he doesn't move in, but watch him. He's more in a position to field, more crouched and ready to go. See how he gets here. He doesn't move forward, but he's more in a crouched position, and as a Valdespin goes down. So, you know what? It's a day game today, and we've seen a lot now in baseball with day games where it seems like a lot of the players have cobwebs in their, the first 4 innings. It takes them a while to kind of wake up and get in the groove.
So we worked in the pitcher's favor. Unless, of course, you're asking your fielders to make some plays behind you. John Neese 1 for 8 at the plate this year. And he slashes one foul.
Well, it's certainly been nice this April to have a lot of Saturday, Sunday, obviously every Sunday day games, but the Saturday day games have been very nice.
How about the Thursday day games?
Would like that too. In St. Louis, when we had these day games in the middle, they called them businessman special. They changed that to business person after a while.
They started earlier there. They started 12:15 or 12:30.
Always enjoyed those days. I think as a player, you play mainly night games, and you got to have a 3 o'clock meal, and you don't get home till around 11 o'clock after the night game. It's nice to be home, whether you're with your family or if you're single by yourself with friends, have a normal dinner hour.
1-2 from Nolasco. The only problem, of course, is waking up for the day game after the night game.
Well, you got to get your rest. I was a proponent of that.
Rest?
I got my rest.
I know you're catching up on it now.
I knew when I had to go to bed. I knew that if I stayed after a certain hour that I was really pushing it for the next day. So 90% of the time that hour, Gary, would be probably 2 o'clock. But it's a night game the next day.
2's not late if you're in a nocturnal profession like this.
Exactly. 3 o'clock, I was asking for trouble.
Curveball inside, so Nolasco goes to a full count on the opposing pitcher. Nolasco does not walk many. In fact, since he came in the league in 2006, he has the highest strikeout to walk ratio of any active starting pitcher. So don't worry too much about Nolasco issuing free passes. Davis will be on the move now with 3-2 and 2 down. And he takes ball 4. How about that? Nolasco averaged less than 2 walks per 9 innings last year. Walks the opposing pitcher after getting ahead in the count. His first walk of the game. You see his career strikeouts and walks ratio.
The 2.1 per 9 innings is outstanding.
2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio is good. 3.5-to-1 like Nolasco, that's just outstanding. Jason Bay, who's on the disabled list, talking things over with Mike Nikias. Well, here's Nieuwenhuis, who opened the first inning with a long drive to the right field wall that went off Stanton's glove for a triple. And Neuenhuis came in with the only run of the game. Takes it back to a curveball for a strike.
No, he wasn't going to get a first pitch fastball there. He got Nolasco got burned on a fastball with a triple in the first inning.
Ball and a strike to Neuenhuis. The plan remains intact for Andres Torres. He should be rejoining the Mets when they get to Houston on Monday. But I don't think there's any displacing Kirk Neuenhuis in the lineup the way he's going right now. I think the only question is when Torres comes back, which one will play left and which one will play center.
Agreed. And you've got options. Is Neuenhuis a two-hole hitter? I don't know. Do you want to leave Tejada in the two-hole? Do you want to put Neuenhuis down in the 8th position or 7th? It's a tough call.
Hit Torres second. Curveball bounced slowly. Infante comes in. Nice runs in front of him. No problem. Side retired. On to the third we go. Mets up 1-0. Day dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. John Neese now with a 1-0 lead as he starts the third inning. You know, everybody out there at home gets to see and hear from Keith and Ronnie and Kevin and myself, but you know, there are so many more people who go into making up a broadcast, and we thought that maybe it would serve our viewing public if they got to see some of the other folks that lend their names and their talents. That gentleman on the right in our crew photo of the week, that is Greg Schultz, who handles all of our graphics and puts up all those great numbers and statistics that we enjoy. Now you may be wondering what's happening in that photo, the SNY crew photo of the week, as it's slugged deep to left off the bat of Sanchez, and that ball is out of here.
Wow.
Gabby Sanchez, who has a propensity for mashing Mets pitching, does it again, and that ties up the game at 1. First home run of the year for Sanchez, and he crushed it.
No question. I think got a fastball left out over the plate. He just turned on it. No doubt on this one. Let's just see. Oh boy, right down. Oh, inside too. So boo-boo.
Is that a sign we should never show Greg Schultz's face on the air again?
Schulte. He's not Schultz to me. He's Schulte.
It's Brett Hayes hitting one out to right, and dude is right there waiting for it. Anyway, just because you can't really tell what's happening in that photo, but we the folks from the home office were nice enough to come out to Citi Field yesterday. Joel Farr and Scott Weinfeld and Sean Miles to demonstrate our new expensing system. And Schulte, who is like he's an electronics genius. He has the whole thing down on his smartphone. And Keith, are you even paying attention?
No, I'm not, because that was evidently on your expenses, folks. Now with all this high-tech stuff, you have a system that you can go through, but you can use your iPhone or your Droid and take a picture of your receipts. Right. So if you go out to dinner or you got your receipt from your credit card, you can shoot a picture of it, and it goes. If you've got the app, it goes right into the main computing system, right. And I was not interested in that. So I have a selective memory and selective attention span.
Really?
I'm one of those dinosaurs. I still have a fax. I'm faxing my receipts.
Now wait a second. You do have a smartphone. I know you do.
I have a Droid.
So do I. I'll be taking pictures of my receipts.
I stayed out late. I stayed back later, and I figured it out with a little special tutoring from Scott Weinfeld.
Well, it's a good thing Scott was there, because I thought Schultz had a terrific presentation. Anyway, last week we showed our director Bill Webb with the cab driver. There's a call, strike three. Nolasco down looking. When Webby and the cab driver broke down in Atlanta.
Yes.
So look forward next week to next week's SNY crew photo of the week. You never know where it might take you.
So I guess to make a long story short, 20 words or less, we've got a new system now how to submit our business expenses. And at first I thought I was never going to get it, but I finally figured it out.
I'm happy for you.
It's important.
You want to get reimbursed. Jose Reyes lined out to short his first time up. And the curveball from Neese drops in for a strike, 1-1. That's got a run in the first against Nolasco, but Sanchez's home run has tied it here in the third. What is it about Gabby Sanchez and the Mets? Ryan Ball out to Murphy's right, and he throws out Reyes. Jose now 1 for 10 in the series, but the Marlins get even. Gabby Sanchez, a .354 career hitter against the Mets during the day, and he got all over that one from John Neese to get the Marlins even. Nice grab, a first baseman's glove. Left. One. Ruben Tejada will lead off the home third against Ricky Nolasco. Tejada drove in the Mets run with a sacrifice fly after Neuenhuis led off the first inning with a triple. That's got a couple of men on in the second as well. So Nolasco has already spent 45 pitches over the first 2 innings. And that can be a problem for Nolasco sometimes. Last start against the Cubs, he threw 96 in 5 1/3 and was gone. albeit with a victory. And Tejada takes the first pitch strike. It'll be Tejada, Murphy, and Wright for the Mets in the bottom of the third. Mets try to sweep a series from the Marlins and keep up their great run of early season success against their own division.
9-5 in April. Remember in spring training we were saying the first month they're practically playing all in division, and here we are, or out of division now for a bit. And they come through shining. 9-5 record.
Yeah, that out of division series didn't go so well against the Giants. But in a division that should be strong top to bottom this year, the Mets are piling up some early wins against their own group. Off the plate, 2-2 to Tejada. Mets will spend the next 10 days playing out of division at Colorado and Houston, home against Arizona, but then right back to Eastern play. They'll go to Philly and Miami. 2-2, and it's in there for a call, strike 3. Slider from Nolasco gets Tejada looking. Second strikeout for Ricky Nolasco.
Well, Nolasco loves that curveball, and when he spots it, well, he's got a gripe there. That's a ball, but what are you going to do?
Well, this umpiring crew, the entire series, is at a very large strike zone.
Which I don't mind at all. They're consistent.
Dan Iasonia Tuesday night, Bill Miller last night, and Dale Scott today have all been calling a lot of strikes.
I think the reason why Nolasco throws a lot of pitches, Gare, is the fact that he likes to nibble. He's not a hard thrower. And he likes to get hitters to chase.
Ball and a strike to Murphy, who grounded out to second base his first trip. And he hits one off the fists out to center field. Bonifacio is there for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. David Wright coming up. Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beninga will have extended coverage of today's Mets-Marlins series finale, plus all the latest news as the Rangers gear up for their decisive Game 7 matchup against the Senators. On Daily News Live, presented by Citi, today at 5, only on SNY. Wright doubled under the glove of Ramirez down the left field line his first time up. David has 4 career home runs against Ricky Nolasco. That matches his most against any pitcher. I found that surprising when I read that stat this morning. Figured he would have more than 4 against somebody, but 4 is the most he's had against anybody. Slow ground ball. Nolasco lets it go wisely to Infante, and that ends the inning. First 1-2-3 inning for Nolasco after the Marlins tie it 1-1 after 3.
It's my favorite subway architectural, I guess. It's just a beautiful little spot there in the circle. Been there many a time.
Gets you uptown on the Lexington Avenue line, too.
It's the 6th line, I believe.
Yeah. Emilio Bonifacio leads off in the 4th inning. Mets and Marlins tied at 1. Bonifacio flied to center his first time up. John Neese is allowed just one base runner, but that base runner circled him. Gabby Sanchez home run leading off the 3rd. So Neese has yet to throw a pitch from the stretch this afternoon. Hanley Ramirez on deck, then Austin Kearns for the Marlins in the 4th. And Bonifacio late on the fastball. It's 1-2. This has not been Neese's favorite team to face. He's only 1-4 lifetime in 6 starts against the Marlins with a 5.67 ERA. But looking good today. Bonifacio gets a piece of it, fouls it off the home plate umpire Del Scott. 1-2. Scott stirred but not shaken.
Mr. Bond.
You hear the new Bond movie? He drinks a beer.
Really?
Instead of a martini. Some product placement deal.
It's very un-British.
It's just not right. Come on.
It's lowering the bar everywhere.
He's been drinking those martinis since Dr. No.
Noticed someone swilling beer down in Colombia a couple weeks ago.
Here's the 2-2 from Neese, and Bonifacio slugs one out to left, but Valdespin is there. First chance in left field for Valdespin, and he makes the play, 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on. Kevin Burkhart's with us. Hi, Kev.
Hi, Garrett. Keith.
Hey.
Favorite part of the homestand, I get to feel like a game show host. It's a Verizon Ask the Booth.
You look like Monty Hall.
Do I?
Yes.
I need like that really long, thin mic, though. That's a really, the real tall one.
The Gene Rayburn mic?
Yeah, I don't know if that mic actually worked, if it was a prop, but it looked cool. Anyway, I think we actually have a question here. Brian from Wappingers Falls is hanging out, has a question about the young talent, guys. What do you have, Brian?
So out of the 9 homegrown guys on the field today, who do you think will make the biggest impact?
Very well delivered by Brian, guys.
Very nice. He sounded like a professional. As Tejada throws out Ramirez for the 2nd out. Keith, what do you got?
That's a good question. My goodness. Well, we're looking right now, great hopes for Duda and Davis. We know that Ike is mired in a deep slump. It depends what you mean by who's going to have the most impact. I mean, you got
David Wright's had a pretty big impact already.
And of course, you got Murph, who has the potential to be, a batting champion. Is it power what you're looking for? I'd have to look right now. I guess I'd have to say either Ike Duda or Ike or Duda, because they're going to have a big impact as far as with hitting home runs.
I'll tell you what. If you give me one, pick one of the 9. John Neese.
Oh, okay. That's I'm thinking of position players.
Out to right field, and Duda's right there waiting. So Neese has allowed just one base runner through the first 4 innings. 1, 2, 3 go the Marlins in the 4th. Duda set to lead off in the bottom.
the Marlins. And R.A. Dickey, who's a fast worker for the Mets as well. Fun to watch. And, of course, the fielders playing behind him, Keith, as you can attest, always a fan of that type of play. Well, I talked to Mark Burley today, and I said, how come everybody else doesn't follow that pattern? I mean, the play is better. All the fielders love it. He said, I don't know. He said, I've always been that way ever since I was a little kid. It's just the way I've been taught. I get the ball and I throw it. And he said, it's funny. A lot of guys obviously step out to try to slow down the pace. That doesn't bother me at all. I know the game. He said, what actually irritates me when I get the ball and guys are actually ready. He said, there's not too many guys that actually do that. But, I want to get the ball and go. When somebody's actually ready, I'm like, oh, all right, I see what you're doing. So the stepping out thing doesn't bother him at all. It's actually when guys are ready a little bit ahead of him. Thought that was an interesting little tidbit, guys.
1-2 to Lucas Duda. It was interesting. I was talking to John Neese the other day, and Neese said when he was in the minor leagues, he used to work exceptionally fast, like get it, throw it, get it, throw it. And he said sometimes he'd go too fast, and he had to consciously slow himself down a little bit.
No, I think that's all of the learning process. Swinging, they're going to call anything close. I didn't think he swung, but this is a very, very aggressive pro pitching umpire crew here.
It's one where the home plate umpire usually asks for help.
Yep. Let me just see here. Well, it's close. I didn't think he swung, but I'm a hitter.
Third strikeout for Nolasco. And R.A. Dickey said something interesting. He said, working fast is great, but you can't work fast just to work fast. It has to be what works for you in your rhythm.
Right, a purpose.
Here's Ike Davis, who had an infield hit his first time up, and he flies one down the left field side. Kern's coming over and puts it away for the second out. So Nolasco's now retired 6 in a row. 2 out and nobody on. What I found interesting last night is the starters both went 7. It took an hour and 43 minutes for 7 innings.
I know where you're going with this.
It took 46 minutes for an inning and a half once the bullpens came.
It's always the case. I mean, the bullpens in today's game, they can they're like the human rain delay. It's a group effort.
Well, you see a lot of starting pitchers who work fast. You see very few relief pitchers who work fast. And now some of that is because they come in with men on base.
I like our bullpen. Our bullpen throws strikes. They come in and they go after hitters.
And they work without histrionics. They do work faster than most bullpens. Certainly Roush does. Francisco does. Burdack does.
It's very workmanlike. They go right after hitters. They do not mess around. And I love to see that.
2-1 to Josh Tolle, who fouled out to third his first trip, and there's a strike on the outside edge. 2-2.
And then again, there's no one that worked faster than Jim Cott. We got to bring him up.
How about Randy Jones? Did you face Randy Jones?
Yeah, but nothing was faster than Jim Cott. Jim Cott was the only pitcher in my whole career, 17 years, that I had to get in the box. I like to step out.
Right.
I'd get my back foot in, have my left hand off the bat with the umpire, call for time, get me get set, and then put my left hand on the bat when I was in my position, and then Jim was going.
Curveball pulled toward the hole until he's got a base hit, and he just keeps on rolling. 9-game hitting streak for Tolle, the longest of his career, and he's now been on base in all 17 games he's played this year.
Well, he's become now the ideal 7th place hitter, and I've always said it's a very underappreciated position in the order and a very important one. Josh doesn't run well. You don't need power in the 7th hole, and I think that with him hitting and a left-hand hitter, all he needs base hits out of him, and when the men are out there, drive him in.
So now Valdespin, for his 3rd big league at bat, struck out his first time up today in his first major league start. And he takes the curveball inside for ball 1. Valdespin last year, AA, AAA combined, hit .294 with a .333 on base percentage. Doesn't draw a lot of walks, but he did steal 37 bases last year.
He's got a lot of tools, a lot of talent. And he's impressed the last 2 spring trainings. He's opened eyes. Yep. I mean, he's had great springs, and that's why he's up here.
Well, and the ease with which he made the transition to center field when the Mets moved him out there in the middle of spring with no notice at all, because all of a sudden they Felt as though they had a dearth out there. A drive in the air to center field. Back goes Bonifacio, going back to the warning track to reel it in. So Valdespin making a bid for his first big league hit it almost 400 feet. But Bonifacio makes the play to get Nolasco through the fourth. Bonifacio, talk about speed. Twisted tea, hard iced tea. Pudge Rodriguez caught Nolan Ryan and Steven Strasburg, who were born 41 years apart. That's how long Pudge Rodriguez caught in the big leagues. Of course, Ivan Rodriguez just announced his retirement the other day. Retired, and appropriately so, as a Texas Ranger. Omar Infante leads off and takes a strike from John Neese. Neese has been practically perfect today. He's allowed just one base runner through 4, but that was a home run by Gabby Sanchez leading off the third inning. And a drive toward right center. That's a base hit by Infante. Over goes Neuenhuis, cuts it off deep. Infante heads for second, and he slides in safely with a double. So Omar Infante with his third hit in the series.
He's way off the plate, but watch him stride in. That's at just outer half, and he goes the other way so nicely. See how he hits the ball up at the plate, and juxtaposed with Ike Davis right now, who's struggling that pitch away. He's way out in front. Infante, that's where you hit the outside pitch.
So the second hit for the Marlins. They both come leading off innings, and that's in keeping with the way Neese's season has gone. Neese has been at his best later in innings. Stanton struck out his first time up, and he breaks his bat, pops it up, tough play over the shoulder, and Tejada won't get there. To third goes Infante. He stops there as Neuenhuis's throw trickles in. So it's a broken bat single for Stanton, and the Marlins have runners at first and third.
Well, he jams him right here with a cutter, and nothing you can do about that. Cuts the bat right in half, saws him off. Infante got a little bit of a bad read on this. He should have scored in this ball. Well, to watch him here, he kind of gets checking it out. There he goes, and then he's looking for his third base coach. Wasn't sure, and you want to play it safe with nobody out. Don't want to run yourself out of a big inning, particularly with this guy coming up.
So now the go-ahead run at third with nobody out. Sanchez, who hit his first home run of the season, leading off in the third. And he takes a fastball for ball one. Sanchez, who has the second highest batting average of any player against the Mets among active players, trailing only Derek Jeter. And he takes a fastball on the outside edge, 1-1. Brett Hayes, the number 8 hitter on deck, and then the pitcher Nolasco behind him. Sanchez has 3 hits in this series. They've all been extra base hits, 2 doubles and a home run. And the curveball fouled off, 1-2. Here are those numbers. 354. If he could bottle that and have it work for him against everybody.
He's coming to this series hitting under 220. And of course, he always finds a way to get on base. And there's a defense. They're kind of playing him a little bit to pull Eduardo Perez, the hitting coach for the Marlins.
Hits a second, should be a double play. A run will score, but Tejada makes the turn for the 4-6-3 double play. Infante comes in with the go-ahead run, and the Marlins go up 2-1.
And I must add here, Murph looking very much more comfortable on ground balls at second base. Stays in front here nicely, gets a nice up hop, beautiful feed. But over this homestand, Murph has played a lot better at second base, a lot more comfortably.
But you know what you notice about a play like that is a week or two ago he might have rushed, but he realized the ball was hit sharply. Sanchez is a slow runner. He had plenty of time to just wait and make the play easily.
Well, he's getting on-the-job experience, and you know, each day you get a little more comfortable, a little more familiar with your surroundings. So I've been very pleased with his progress at second base.
Now Neese behind on Hayes, 2-0. Hayes flying to right his first time up. And he grounds one foul. Hayes, the backup catcher to John Buck, who started the first 2 games of the series. This is Brett Hayes' 4th start this year. And it's a big out for Neese to get to try and have the pitcher lead off the next inning. There's John Buck, who will catch the vast majority of the time for the Marlins. And the curveball drops in for a strike to Hayes, 2-2. There were times over the last year or two when John Neese would sometimes forget about his curveball, which is hard to believe, as good as that pitch is. Kind of fell in love with his cutter. He's looking a little angry after that last fastball, which he hoped to end the at bat with. Now it's 3-2, and the curveball is fouled off.
Boy, I tell you, usually umpires set up behind the catcher a little bit to get a little coverage, but Dale Scott, he is really set up on the inside corner. Take a look on this next pitch, folks. When he gets set, his whole body is exposed. He gets more extreme than this.
3-2 and fouled off. Well, what happens with that is that you get more low strikes because the umpire is able to get lower, but the outside corner is a rumor, and as far away as he is from the outside corner, he kind of has to guess.
He's not really guessing, he's calling by feel.
Right. Remember the old American League umpires with the bubble chest protector always stood right over the catcher and gave the high strike. Curveball for a called 3rd strike. Hayes is down. 4th strikeout for Neese, but the Marlins take the lead 2-1 halfway through. Stay on top of the latest draft news with up-to-minute updates, exclusive interviews, and reports from Florham Park on Jets Nation Draft Day 2012, presented by Melrose Credit Union. Coverage begins tonight at 6:30 only on SNY. Here's your Delta fifth inning recap. Another well-pitched game. John Neese matched up against Ricky Nolasco. Gabby Sanchez tied it with a home run. The Marlins scratched out a run in the fifth, and now the Mets behind for the first time as John Neese leads off against Nolasco. Neese drew a walk, the only walk that Nolasco's issued his first time up. Neuenhuis and Tejada to follow. Well, we've mentioned it several times during the broadcast today, the fact that the Mets are running out 9 players today who were originally signed by the Mets and played for no other organization. 9 homegrown players. As Neese pops one up in foul ground, and Hanley Ramirez puts it away for the first out. The only other time this happened was 2 games in 1971. And in those games, here were the cast of characters, the 9 homegrown players. Mets had Ed Kranepool at first, Teddy Martinez, remember him, at second,
Teddy.
Buddy Harrelson at shortstop, Tim Foley at third. You see there Milner, Jorgensen, and Singleton. That's the September before the Mets included both Jorgensen and Singleton in the deal that brought Rusty Staub to New York the first time. The catcher was Duffy Dyer, and there were 2 games, one started by Jerry Koosman and one started by Gary Gentry, and those were the only games in Mets history in which they had fielded 9 homegrown players in the same game. Neuenhuis fouls it off, and Terry Collins was talking before the game today and said it's quite a tribute to the scouts in the Mets organization who drafted these guys. But I think also, and you know, sometimes he doesn't get nearly enough credit, but you have to give an enormous shout out to Omar Minaya, because, you know, for whatever else, Omar was a tremendous scout, and the Mets drafted and were able to develop talent under Omar. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, every player in this lineup today, other than David Wright, was drafted and signed during Omar's tenure as general manager. And you know, the Mets farm system took some bad raps over the last few years for not having a whole lot of talent, but look at what's happened.
Well, Omar's strength was in evaluation of talent. There's no question. Young talent too. I'm talking, you can see someone when he's 12 years old. Omar was very, very, very good at that. I always felt that if I was owned a ball club or was running a ball club, I would want Omar to be my farm director. That's what I'd want. I'd want him to handle completely on top of my minor leagues.
1-2 to Neuenhuis, and he bounces one off the bag, and that'll go down the line. Chased down by Infante, and so Neuenhuis has to stop at first. A cushion shot for Neuenhuis, his second hit of the game.
Well, we've got a break here because Sanchez had it covered. He loves to play the line, Gabby. And as you can see, he's right there. He had it, and there's nothing you can do about that.
So Neuenhuis aboard, representing the tying run at first with 1 out, and now Ruben Tejada, who drove in the Met run back in the first.
Pretty much straight up. Slight shade to the opposite field.
You know, scouting and development can sometimes be an iffy proposition, because unlike the other major sports, a relatively low percentage of draft picks make it to the major leagues, even #1 picks. And the same thing holds true for evaluations of farm systems. You know, Baseball America does an unbelievable job of rating the talent in the 30 different organizations and putting a number on it, but you know, sometimes they're wrong too. And the Mets have never over the last decade gotten much credit for having talent in their farm system, but here they are.
Well, a lot of times too, on the other side of the coin is if you have a farm system with depth, with a lot of depth, it allows you to make trades.
No question. And on the other hand, if you have veteran players, you can restock your farm system in that manner, like the Mets did last summer when they traded Carlos Beltran and got back Zach Wheeler, who is now one of the prizes in the Mets organization.
Carlos off to a very good start with the Cardinals. Seems to be healthy.
1-1 to Tejada and a pitch out, but Nieuwenhuis, who has just one stolen base, isn't going anywhere. Terry was talking today about hit and run, and someone was asking why he doesn't call it more. He said, well, we might have called it more than you think. We've missed a lot of signs.
Oh.
He said, I don't worry about other teams getting our signs because we're just starting to figure them out, which was pretty funny.
I remember when I was young, it was always terrifying, and you never wanted to miss a sign.
Bounce behind third, just foul.
My focus on signs is that you always have an indicator, and for you folks that don't know what the indicator is that Tuff can do all the signs he wants, but the indicator, say, is his left hand goes swiping across horizontally across the Mets. Then it can be the first, second, third sign after that indicator. So that's all I focused on. If the indicator was going across the letters with the left hand, that's all I looked for. And then I knew the sign was on, and then you have a wipe off too.
Double play ball right at Reyes, and Infante makes the turn for the easy 6-4-3 double play that gets Nolasco through the bottom of the fifth. After 5, 2-1 Miami. Ricky Nolasco leads off the 6th inning for Miami. Nolasco working with a 2-1 lead in our third straight well-pitched game in this series, and Nice gets one over for a strike, 1-1. John's allowed 2 runs and 3 hits. A broken bat single put him in jeopardy in the 5th. A run came in on a double play, and that's the lead run of the game.
Boy, John's throwing well. It just looks like now he's pitching with a purpose. He has an idea what he's trying to do to set up hitters. And you notice his fastball has been 91, not like the last start when he was throwing 92, 93. He's just spotting the ball.
Curveball. This is outside, 2-2. Mike Pelfrey still waiting for word on what's going to be with Mike's elbow. Terry Collins said his understanding was that the doctors who are working on his case are having a conference call today. Part of the problem in assessing Pelfrey is that he has had such a clean bill of health throughout his career that they really have never had to take an MRI of his elbow, so they don't really have a baseline to go by. So, you know, every pitcher has little tears here and there. So the question is it any worse now than it was before? And they don't really know. Nolasco hits one out to right center field, chasing Neuenhuis back in the gap, and he runs it down, one away.
It makes you wonder, as a precautionary, do you want to do, when your pitchers come up, do an MRI just for the sake of having an original?
Seems to make sense, right? Some baseline. Now Reyes, who's 0 for 2 today and 1 for 10 in this series. So the Mets are holding their breath and hoping that the news will be good on Mike Pelfrey, as Reyes gets tied up in a knot on that curveball and goes around. 0-1. For the moment, though, Pelfrey's spot will be taken tomorrow night by Chris Schwinden.
Oh, he sure did swing there.
Almost swung himself as well as the bat.
Well, we've seen, you know, Jose, when he guesses wrong, he can look bad up there, but he's certainly got his share of success.
Well, last year when he won the batting title, he was really able to cut down on the number of pitches that he chased out of the strike zone. But early this season, he seems to be in a little more of that chase mode that we saw earlier in his career. Maybe the pressure of coming to a new team, the big contract. Curveball dribbled. Off the mound comes Nice, and he guns down Reyes for the second out. So 2 out and nobody out. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He's standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. By the way, Matt Moore is pretty good too. I got a chance to do his game in the playoffs last year, coming off one big league start, and he was just spectacular. Left-hander with a great future. Emilio Bonifacio up with 2 out. By the way, speaking of pitchers, Philip Humber will make his first start tonight since the perfect game, going up against the Red Sox in Chicago. Great quote from Bobby Valentine going into that game, because Humber, after the perfect game, then left the White Sox to go home for the birth of his first child. And so Valentine said, good, I hope he's really tired. Whereas Humber, the 7th ex-Met to leave the team and pitch a no-hitter, 2nd to pitch a perfect game.
Well, the Red Sox are 7-10 now after that horrific start. So they're trying to get it back up to 500. That's your first battle uphill, is to get to 500.
Curveball in for a strike. 2-2 to Bonifacio. Well, the Red Sox have been doing plenty of hitting. The question is their pitching. Another rough outing for Clay Buchholz.
And over the long haul, hitting's not going to get it done over 162.
Nice has not walked about it today. It's gone full to Bonifacio with 2 out and nobody on, and Hanley Ramirez on deck. And it's hit weakly out to second base. Murphy comes into one-handed, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 inning for Nice. Still 2-1 Miami. To all Mets games on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Mets begin their road trip in Colorado tomorrow night. 8:30 game time, with Chris Schwindon making his first start of the year for the Mets. 3 in Colorado, 3 in Houston before the Mets come home a week from Friday to play Arizona. Mets down by a run. They've got the heart of the batting order up against Ricky Nolasco in the home 6th. Daniel Murphy's 0 for 2, grounded out and flied out. And Murph takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1.
Got Murph out the first at bat on a ground ball. He rolled over to second base on a breaking ball, and then the last at bat got inside on Murph and beat him in a little bit and got a fly ball to center.
Comes inside with the fastball, and it's 2-1. David Wright on deck, then Lucas Duda, as the Mets, who scored a run 2 batters into the first inning, haven't gotten to Nolasco since.
He gave away that changeup.
So one of the rare positive counts the Mets have had against Nolasco today. 3-1 to Murphy. And Daniel grounds one right to Sanchez, who's playing the line again, and in just the right spot to make the play. 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on. David Wright coming up. Let's check in with Kevin.
Well, last night certainly a big night for Wright, guys. Obviously breaking the RBI record on the team, and I think by now we all know that David is a high quality guy. I mean, he's got that great makeup, and you know, I think part of that character is what makes him succeed here in New York and in this environment with all the tough times this team has gone through. And you know, to get a better perspective of what he is like away from the field, I talked to one of the members of the security staff here at Citi Field, one of the guys that deals with them a lot, and one of the guys that's been here for over 20 years, so he's seen a lot of ball players come through. He said, you know, the thing with David is that first time he came up, he was so thankful to get the opportunity. He's never lost sight of that. He appreciates every day, and he appreciates every little thing. Day one, it was always sir and thank you, and that hasn't changed with him. He said that's the thing about Wright. He said I put him in the class character-wise of Ventura and Zeal. He has never changed, and he's that type of guy. He said, you know, we laugh, he laughs with everybody. We talk football. The entire staff just loves him, although I do wish he was a Jet fan. That's what this one gentleman said. You know, I think, though, Gary, the thing about him is when you talk about character, it's part of the package, and it can be taken for granted. You know, I mean, it's those people behind the scenes. Anyone can kind of put on the brave face for the camera, but if you treat those people right, I think it says a lot about the person. And if people at home, their kids looking for a role model, it's a pretty good guy to look up to.
I think that's very true, and I think to group him with Ventura and Zeal is very high praise, because both those guys are absolutely great character individuals. And I remember the day David came up, and just the ease with which he was able to negotiate the media horde and speak from the heart, and you know, he's just such a genuine person. As Infante gets in front of the slow roller and throws out right for the second out, and it hasn't changed. I mean, he really 9 years later or whatever it is, it's the same guy. And the one thing that you can see in David that's changed since that first day, though, is the hunger for victory. I think he expected to be a champion by now, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, what I find commendable about David is when you're on top and things are going your way, it's easy to be nice to everybody. But when you're struggling, that's the real sign of who the person that you are. And he's had some tough years, and not just bad slumps. He had a couple tough years of late, and he's still the same guy. So that speaks volumes.
Well, his parents get a lot of the credit. They raised him right, and they raised him to treat people right. His work ethic is great. His people skills are wonderful. And now he's the elder statesman.
He's the vet. He's what Lou Brock was to me when I came up.
1-1 to Duda, and a strike call. Nice looking slider from Nolasco to get ahead on Duda, 1-2.
So it's important for David not to get his dauber down. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. And all it is just going out there and playing hard.
Curveball for strike 3 called, so Nolasco hitting the gas. His 4th strikeout. He's up 2-1 after 6. Screen here with the Knuckleball star had to say at the Tribeca Film Festival. Plus, find out why Al Leiter loves pitching at Shea. Mets Weekly presented by WB Mason. Sunday at 6:30 only on SNY. Seventh inning, Hanley Ramirez leads off against John Neese.
He's hitless in this series.
0 for 9 in the 3 games. 0 for 2 today. A pop up and a ground ball.
Still got that long swing.
Well, we mentioned it early. There's R.A. who loved the premiere of Knuckleball the other night. Saturday night they had an outdoor venue where they previewed the film. We were talking about those top 3 hitters in the lineup. Now 3 for 54 in this road trip for the Marlins, which is now in their 5th and final game. And they, needless to say, lost all 4. Even with their lead today, the Marlins have scored 6 runs in 5 games on this trip.
Well, the 1 through 4 in the order today, 0 for 10.
But they got a home run from Sanchez, the 7-hitter, Infante with a double, and he scored in the 5th. And so far that's been enough because the Mets have not been able to do much against Nolasco. He's now just trying to keep this close and give the Mets a chance late. 3-1 to Ramirez and a high fly ball to right. Duda started back, now charging hard, and gets there to make the play. 1 out. He was fortunate there was so much air under that ball because he made a significant break back on it. So 1 out. Now Austin Kearns, 0 for 2 as the cleanup hitter today, grounded out and flied out. Well, the Giants left here winning 3 out of 4 over the long weekend. They've gone to Cincinnati where they've lost their first 2 and they're trailing again today. 5-3 Reds in the 7th.
Well, I haven't seen a really good team yet so far.
Line down the left field line and a base hit for Kearns. Down the speed over to cut it off. Kearns is going to try for 2. Here comes the throw. He might get it. Murphy with a tag, but he's safe. Kearns got in. It's a double for Austin Kearns.
Well, let's see the tag because the throw beat him. Not a good tag by Murph. Just didn't get there.
Well, we've talked about Valdespin and his athleticism. The first game he's ever played in left field in his life today, and he made that play on the line like he'd been doing it for 10 years.
He made a pretty good throw too. Remember one thing, his arm is not conditioned to throw long. He's played second base. The longest throw he's going to make is a double play or a ball up the middle, so it takes a while to lengthen out your arm.
And you could see that his release was an infielder's release, not the long arm of an outfielder's throw. But he still should have had Kearns at second base. Ball certainly got there in time. Only the 4th hit against Neese. 3 of the 4 have been for extra bases. Infante has one of those. He doubled to right center and scored in the 5th. Infante, not quite the numbers that Gabby Sanchez has against the Mets, but close to him, hitting over 340 in his career against New York. Murphy edging toward the bag, and Neese again steps off. Manny Acosta up in the Mets bullpen. Manny closed out the Mets victory last night.
He's getting a lot of work lately.
Curveball by Neese gets him ahead of Infante 0-1.
That's a nice blue on that Met uniform, isn't it? My favorite color.
Happy to hear that. Sometimes I'm thinking Cardinal red.
That's Tom Seaver's friend.
And Met. Thought Tom was Mr. Met. Here's the 2-1 and the curveball swung and missed. Not been a lot of curves swung at from these today. This one was.
Well, he's really today against the right-handers, Gary, really dropped that off-speed curveball in the outside corner on him all day with precision. I think it's a wonderful weapon against the right-hand hitter.
And it's been an all right-hand hitting lineup for the Marlins today. And another curveball strikes out Infante for the second out of the inning. 5 strikeouts now for Nice.
Keep it on the outside. He's taking something off. There you go. Tough guy to strike out, Infante.
So 2 out. Curran still at second, and now Giancarlo Stanton. Well, the starting pitching in this series has been extraordinary on both sides. Starting with Santana against Johnson on Tuesday night, Dickey against Burley last night, and Nice and Nolasco again here today. Stanton had a broken bat single to center that helped build the go-ahead run in the 5th inning. 1 for 2 on the day, 2 for 9 in the series. And there's been a lot of conversation around the Marlins about why Stanton has struggled so much to hit home runs, and they keep coming back to the fact that he missed so much time in spring training with a knee problem. I wonder at what point that doesn't hold anymore.
Well, last year he had the same difficulties. He wound up hitting over 30. Very strong. There's that curveball. I'm telling you what, he is just, it's like from his hand to the outside corner.
Look at the walk strikeout ratio. 7 walks and 39 strikeouts for the starting pitchers in this series.
Hey, the game hasn't changed in over what, 35, 36 years?
You think that's good? Did you see what the national starters ERA is now after the performance last night of Jordan Zimmerman? In their first 18 games, their starters ERA is 1.71.
You gotta love that.
That's why they're 14-4. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Stanton. Back-to-back strikeouts to finish the top of the 7th. Nice with 6 punch-outs. 7th inning stretch. The Mets down by a run. One of 2 active players to lead his team in all-time RBIs. Who's the other? If you were listening earlier in the game, we gave you the answer. So that's a test. See how long you've been watching.
Oh, jeez.
Ike Davis.
Strike 2.
Takes a ball that goes right through Brett Hayes, who I guess was crossed up. I mean, there's nobody on base. The signs should be pretty easy, right? And Nolasco, for some reason, didn't know what pitch was coming.
And he threw a little slider in the back door. Outside corner. Look at Ike starting way too quick. Oh, I'm glad you showed that, guys. He's just starting his take back way too quickly.
By the way, Dale Scott didn't particularly care for that. Ball clipped off his inner thigh. Davis was credited with a base hit when he hit a little bloop that eluded Jose Reyes in the second.
Well, you know the old classic. We had in minor leagues when there used to be a lot of veteran players, ex-major leaguers, and you had some bad umpires. You know, the catcher would call for a curve, pretend it was a curve, pretend he got crossed up on a fastball and let it go by, hit the umpire, and I seen some umpires get angry. I saw that a lot in AAA.
Really?
Yes,
a lot.
Because there were some bad umpires.
Wow. 2-2 to Davis with Tolle and Valdespin to follow. And the curveball, strike 3 call. So Nolasco struck out Duda with that curveball to end the 6th. Gets Ike the same way to start the 7th.
Too quickly, and I feel like a broken record, but that's the issue with Ike, and he's got to work through that.
That's probably a tough pitch, even if he's going good. 1 out and nobody on. Here's Josh Tolle, who extended his hitting streak to 9 games with a base hit to right his last time up. And he grounds this one right at Infante. So Nolasco quickly has 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, and he is just rolling right along, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's changing his speeds a little here, a little there. Nice curveball.
SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. That guy left-handed with the first baseman's mitt who caught that home run by Sanchez looked like you.
No.
Not your brand of glove?
No, I'd have been much more smooth.
Here's Valdespin with 2 out.
Oh, gosh.
And another good curveball by Nolasco.
Nolasco's just in a rhythm.
He's starting to match Nice curve for curve. Mike Baxter on deck to pinch hit if Valdespin can keep the inning going. Looking for his first big league hit. He hit the ball well his last time up, sending Bonifacio back on the warning track in center field. Ramon Ramirez up in the bullpen. Now, if Valdespin makes the last out, you have to figure Nice goes back out there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Only 97 pitches through 7. He's been fantastic.
I want to give him a chance to win.
Nolasco ahead on Valdespin, 0-2. And the changeup blown away. Meanwhile, Nolasco up over 100 pitches now. Threw 96 in his last start, up to 106 today. So I figure this will be his last go around.
Well, after what I've seen of the Marlin bullpen this series, I want 8 out of them.
And another weak ground ball for Infante to handle. So Nolasco has a 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 7 in a row. We are through 7. Nice and the Mets down 2-1. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. David Wright, one of 2 active players with the franchise lead in RBIs. Who's the other? Well, the Mets will see him tomorrow night. Former Tennessee quarterback Todd Helton.
Washington Park.
Double switch for the Mets as Mike Baxter comes in to play left, and I'm a little surprised, Keith, that John Neese is coming out of this game, but Ramon Ramirez is on to pitch.
Well, I agree, and there's Ramon's numbers. 97 pitches, cruising, and I think he's pitched well enough where you want to keep him in the game, give him a chance to get a win. But the game's changed here. What are you going to do?
Gabby Sanchez leads off against Ramirez. It was Sanchez who homered against Neese back in the 3rd to tie up the game, and he takes a strike, and maybe that's why. Maybe Terry Collins saw Sanchez to lead off and remembered the home run and decided to make the move on that account.
I don't think that's gone into his thinking, to be honest with you.
The home run was the first of the year for Sanchez.
Well, there was no doubt. Inner hash, more inside corner, belt high, and as Frank Howard would say, turn the fan on. And he certainly did.
Two balls and a strike to Sanchez. Randy Choate up and available in the Miami bullpen. Velasco's turn is due here in the 8th inning, and he's up to 107 pitches, so they might well bat for him. Sanchez fouls it back 2-2. Well, John Neese was tremendous tonight. 2 runs, 4 hits over 7 innings, no walks, 6 strikeouts, and after 4 starts, Jonathan's ERA is 2.81. That's a winning ERA.
He hasn't had a bad outing yet. It's 4 good ones.
What he's really had is a couple of rocky innings. He had that 7th inning after he threw 6 no-hit innings that first start, and then that 1 bad inning against the Giants in his last start. So Ramirez takes care of Sanchez for the first out.
Fastball away. Gabby, look at that. Not a good swing. That is completely fooled.
So now Brett Hayes, the catcher, who's flied out and taken a called 3rd strike, 0 for 2. On the last go appears done.
That looks like Greg Dobbs in the on-deck circle down there.
A bunt by Hayes, and David Wright can put it in his pocket. So the catcher Hayes surprising the Mets with the bunt, and he has himself a base hit.
Well, don't expect him to bunt, and Wright playing back, rightly so. Just a matter of getting it down that line enough. Smart play.
So now Greg Dobbs will bat for Nolasco. Dobbs pinch hit in the game last night and popped up against John Roush in the 8th inning. So Nolasco with 7 terrific innings, allowed just a run and 5 hits. He walked only 1 and struck out 5. So the 6 starting pitchers who've worked in this series have all been tremendous, all giving up 2 runs or less, all going at least 6 2/3. And the side-arming left-hander Randy Choate getting ready for the bottom of the 8th. So here's the veteran Dobbs with 1 out and 1 on. And there goes Hayes. The pitch outside. Toley's throw a little high, and Hayes steals the base even after oversliding. So Hayes showing off his wheels after bunting for a hit.
Well, that's called sneaking one, because you don't think the catcher's ever going to try to steal a base. Does it on the first pitch, and he had it easily.
First major league stolen base for Hayes, who's in his 4th major league season.
Smart play by Ruben there, trying to give him a tough tag after he was on the base, see if he can force his hand off the base.
So now runner in scoring position for Dobbs with a 1-0 count, and he pulls one through the hole. That's a base hit. Hayes got a late start. He goes to 3rd and stops there, and so the Marlins have runners at the corners with 1 out. So Dobbs finds a hole, And now Ramirez finds himself in trouble with Jose Reyes coming up.
Well, he certainly got a late break. There's no one going to catch that ball on a fly. It's hit to the right side of the infield. You got to score on that ball. What's he waiting for? I mean,
that ball was on the ground.
It's just bad base running.
20 feet onto the grass.
Seen enough bad base running.
So now Reyes is 0 for 3 today, 1 for 11 in the series, and the Mets are forced to bring the infield in. First and third and 1 out. You'd love to be able to play back for the double play, but against Reyes, particularly batting left-handed, that's tough to do.
Well, it's a big run out there for Jose to drive in.
Reyes has driven in only 2 runs through his first 72 at bats. And Jose grounds one down to first. Ike goes to second with it. The return by Tejada in time. Double play. Side retired. Well, Ike took the gamble that he could turn 2 against Reyes' speed, and he did. The 3-6-3 ends the inning and keeps it a 1-run game. Beautifully done by Davis and Tejada, and they nip Reyes on the relay to keep a run off the board, or maybe not. By the way, here's a bullet. Miguel Cabrera. It's pretty good.
I liked him from the get-go. He just got to keep the weight down.
Randy Chodon to pitch the bottom of the 8th. Scott Hairston will bat for Mike Baxter, who had come in on the double switch in the last inning. So with the left-hand pitcher in the game, Terry Collins opts for Hairston. Remember, Choate was part of that historic, in not a good way, effort by the Marlins bullpen in the opening game of this series. 4 different pitchers walking a batter each in succession. No major league team had ever done that. Steve Cishek, who's up in the bullpen, was also part of that.
It was a great 880 relay.
4 by 100. 4 by 100. 4 by 400. 2-1-1 to Hairston. Josh Johnson walked the last man he faced. Then Choate came in and walked Justin Turner. Then Cishek came in and walked Hairston. And then Mike Dunn came in and walked Tolley to force in a run. 1-2 now to Hairston. Well, let's look at that last call at first base, which certainly did not appear to be the right one.
Clearly safe, and question Ike's judgment. Your infield's in. Okay, you're in. It's Jose Reyes. That's the Jose Reyes factor. Too fast. You should have went home. We got away with it, but you want to go home.
Clearly, Jose should have been safe on the Coors Light freeze cam, and Hairston hooks one out to left. Kearns circles in and puts it away for the first out. And you know, I was shocked when Ike threw that ball to second base, because the reason you play the infield is because you know it's hard to double up Reyes, and Ike got a little fortunate there.
Well, he did, and like I said, it's Jose Reyes running, one of the fastest guys in the game.
So one out. Now Kirk Neuenhuis, who has 2 of the Mets' 5 hits today. He tripled up against the right field fence off the glove of Stanton to lead off the first inning and came in with the Mets' only run. Then he banged one off the first base bag for a base hit in the 5th. And the breaking ball outside for ball 1. Can you believe where Gabby Sanchez is playing right now?
That's where he played the other night, and Murph hit one to his right.
He is almost standing on first. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's absurd. His foot's on the line. I have never seen that.
Well, I've seen a first baseman play in foul territory.
Well, holding a runner on.
And then you weren't allowed to do it anymore.
Well, only manager that did it was Whitey. I mean, when you guard a line, you want to be, when you're playing in like that, you can get 3 feet off the line.
I mean, especially as a right-handed first baseman, your glove is in foul territory now.
Yep. That is, I've never seen it. And they got burned by it. First game, Murph, first and third with a base hit to his right.
Well, here's the other thing. As far to the line as he is, even a ball hit to his right could go down the line for a double.
That's a good point.
If it's hit hard enough.
You see, now that's where he should be playing right now when he's playing in. You can actually get 5 feet off the line when you're playing that deep. 6 feet.
2-2 to Neuenhuis, and he goes down swinging. So Choate has retired the first 2 in the 8th. Well, tomorrow night the Mets open their road trip in Denver. Chris Schwinden will come up from the minors to make the start. The promising young left-hander Drew Pomerantz will go for Colorado. 8 o'clock our coverage tomorrow night right here on SNY as the Mets open the series with the Rockies. As Ruben Tejada comes up, let's check in with Kevin.
Now, there are a lot of storylines with the Rockies, Gary. Maybe the strangest one is that Troy Tulowitzki has looked very un-Troy Tulowitzki. I mean, he's got 6 errors already this year. He had 6 all of last year, 4 of them on throws. In fact, he's already had 2 two-error games. He admitted that, yes, it's in my head. I'm thinking about it because I care about it. It's such a weird thing. Only Starlin Castro has more errors in the National League as a shortstop. He's got 7. So Tulo trying to get on track there. So much so that Jason Giambi actually pulled out a highlight reel of his highlights from last year and said, hey, man, this is you. This is who you are. Kind of get back to this and reminded everyone, hey, he's human. There's been a lot of storylines for that team, but certainly you don't expect that from the 2-time Gold Glove winner who has looked superhuman every time the Mets have played the Rockies anyway.
You know, you look at the numbers for the Rockies, it's surprising they are 500 because they haven't pitched particularly well or hit particularly well. But the big addition there, well, 2 of them, Marco Scudero, but Michael Kadire has stepped in there and played a huge role in their offense. A guy who can play anywhere for you, a guy Ron Gardenhire loved in Minnesota. And Kadire now in Colorado and off to a very good start.
You know, it's usually you think of the guys that have the yips throwing. Steve Sachs comes to mind. The second baseman for the Yankees, Knobloch. Usually the guys that have those trouble with throwing out of the blue are guys that are wound tight, that really push. And Sachs was one of those types, and so was Knobloch. And Tulowitzki, I believe, is in that same camp.
1-2 to Tejada, and Choate misses outside. Daniel Murphy on deck. Mets have not seen Heath Bell in this series. Every expectation to see him in the 9th inning.
Keith has gotten off to a so-so start with the Marlins. Blew his first 2 save opportunities after another spectacular year with the Padres last year. Signed the big contract with Florida. That's twice now. Miami.
Oh, it's a day game.
2-2. Little dribbler foul. There's your Verizon Mets box score. Kirk Neuenhuis led off the first inning with a triple, scored the run on the sac fly by Tejada, and the Mets have had very little working since. Against Ricky Nolasco, who went 7, and now Randy Choate has retired the first 2 in the 8th. Two and 2 now to Tejada, and Ruben takes just inside the full count. Some folks came armed with their umbrellas today. It's only a little light mist in the air.
Old baseball fans right there. They've seen a few games.
3-2 to Tejada, and it's too high, ball 4. So Ruben, after falling behind in the count, works out the walk, and the Mets have the tying run aboard with Murphy coming up. Steve Cishek up in the bullpen getting ready for David Wright if he comes up in this inning, but it'll be Choate to stay in to face Murphy.
And this is how it started the last time. 2-out walk.
Murphy's 0 for 3 today. Well, Tejada is not a base stealer, but if you're going to steal one, this would be a pretty good time. Mets have only stolen 4 bases in their first 18 games. Tejada has one of those, and the curveball from Choate in for a strike. Murphy checking with Dale Scott.
Very deep in the outfield. No doubles here, I gather.
And Murph lays off that slider, and it's 1-1.
Really playing in left field. Kern's way over the line.
Big gap in left center for Murph to shoot at.
I don't like the double down the line. It's going to be a double anyway. Take away the gaps.
Three sliders in a row, and now it's 2-1, and especially against the left-hander. I mean, there's every chance that Murph's going to take that slider and hit it to left center.
Anything down the line that gets by the first or third baseman is an automatic dub. So the big part of the ballpark is in the gaps.
Now Stanton in right center is playing a little more toward the gap. Here's the 2-1. Fastball in for a call strike. I think he surprised Murphy, and it's 2-2.
It's a strike. I'll tell you what, it's been a good crew. Good umpiring crew in this series. Trying to come in.
And Murphy fights it off.
And Murph has that ability to inside out and slash it foul and stay in the at bat. That's why he hits 300. And he's tied up. But see, that's just emergency. That's inside outing, and you're still in the at bat. Double up in. He doesn't want he loves his slider.
2-2 from Choate. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with that slider, and the inning is over. Second strikeout for Choate, and we head for the 9th. Miami up 2-1. choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Toyota. By Partners Executive Transportation, driving you around the world. And by Citi. Visit Mets.com/Citi Chalk Talk to learn about a special 1-hour Chalk Talk with Sandy Alderson and Ron Darling May 5th. Scott Hairston stays in the game in left. Ramon Ramirez begins his second inning of relief. And Emilio Bonifacio takes high for ball 1. Bonifacio 0 for 3, flied out twice and grounded out. He's 1 for 11 in the series. And there's Heath Bell getting ready for a save chance in the bottom of the 9th. Ramirez threw just 8 pitches to get through the 8th inning. It was not without trouble. A bunt hit and then a seeing eye hit for Dobbs. But the bad call on the 3-6-3 double play bailed the Mets out of the inning. And a call strike 2-1 to Bonifacio with Ramirez and Kearns to follow. This misting rain becomes a little bit thicker. Tim Burdock gets up in the Mets bullpen. And Ramirez missing consistently high in this at bat, falls behind 3-1. In Cincinnati, Angel Pagan just hit a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th off Sean Marshall, and the Giants go in front of the Reds 6-5. There's a strike. Marshall, the closer now in Cincinnati, with Brian Madsen out for the year. So Manny Acosta up in the Mets bullpen.
Well, Bonifacio's the switch hitter. His career splits. It's a better right-hand hitter, 295. Lefty only 258.
His first left-handed at bat of this game. And he hits it out to center field, chasing Nieuwenhuis back a few strides to the edge of the track to run it down. 1 out. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Post-Game Live. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda, guys. All right, the Mets will have 4, 5, and 6 in the order. Wright, Davis, Duda, and Davis coming up against Heath Bell in the bottom of the 9th. So Ramon Ramirez trying to keep this a 1-run game. Hanley Ramirez 0 for 10 in the series, 0 for 3 today. So those 1, 2, 3 batters in the Marlins lineup we talked about coming into the game. How tough a road trip they've had. Austin Kearns on deck. They're 0 for 11 today. That's 3 for 56 on this road trip. Reyes, Bonifacio, and Ramirez.
Well, he's the 4th fastest to 100 home runs, but he's a different hitter now. Got him some bad habits.
And no longer a shortstop, at least for the moment. Of course, most home run hitting shortstops wind up not being shortstops anymore.
Unless, of course, you got pull like Cal Ripken.
Well, he ended up at third base.
Begrudgingly.
A-Rod. Ernie Banks moved to first base. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Ramirez strikes out Ramirez. 2 out.
Just smart pitching. Long swing. Where do you beat him? With a long swing right there. Up and in. Hasn't got a chance. All that muscle, and guess what?
Just a little late to the party. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Austin Kearns, 1 for 3, double down the left field line his last time up. The Marlins have 6 hits. The Mets have 5. Another very well pitched game. The lead run in this game coming home on a double play grounder in the 5th inning. This will be taking a crack at the former Met Heath Bell in the bottom of the 9th. Heath has had very much the upper hand against the Mets. But the Mets have gotten to him a couple of times the last 2 years. And they'll have a chance again today if Ramirez can keep this close.
Oh, through the wickets. Oh.
Well, It's a little wet.
Look at this. Hey, stay down. Come on. You're excused.
It took the unusual bounce.
You're excused. You're not going to play goalie for the Rangers tonight, that's for sure.
Hey, you get that kind of tip in front of the crease. That's a goal against Lundqvist, too.
Wright throws out Kearns. 1-2-3 inning for Ramon Ramirez. Now David Wright will lead off in the bottom of the ninth against Heath Bell with the Mets down by a run.
Coughlin will come into play left field and bat ninth, and the former Met Heath Bell will pitch and bat fourth.
Well, this was one of the big moves the Marlins made, and he has been something. We all know him in the Met uniform, and he was never got any really respect. They just didn't know what to do with Heath, and he went on to the Padres and has become one of the top closers in the game.
Three-time All-Star, 40 or more saves, 3 straight years, the only player in the game who's done that. But he got off to a shaky start with Miami, blew his first 2 save opportunities. He is 6 for 8 in save opportunities against the Mets since he left them. He pitched parts of 3 years with the Mets in 04, 05, and 06 before spending 5 terrific years in San Diego, first setting up for Trevor Hoffman and then taking over as an elite closer. David Wright leads off. David 1 for 3 on the day, doubled his first time up, and he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. David is 2 for 6 with a home run against Bell.
Boy, you got a gear fastball right here. 1-0. If he throws you that curveball, you can take it. Just he throws you that heater, he's straight.
Davis and Duda and Davis to follow. There's a fastball for a strike. 1-1.
Curve. He's not
bounces it. 2-1.
He's way missed badly, low and away both times. There you go. They're the numbers.
Heath Bell, since leaving the Mets, has 136 saves. One of 6 pitchers who left the Mets and had over 100 saves. Mets have had trouble developing their own closers. The 2-1 to Wright and a slider in for a strike. It's 2-2.
That was a good one. That was outside corner, knee high.
The only pitcher ever to debut with the Mets and save at least 100 games for the Mets, Jesse Orosco, and even he didn't start on the Mets farm system. Way inside.
Oh.
And a full count to Wright. up and in from Bell, and he's gone full to right, leading off in the last of the ninth.
Let's see David's response. It wasn't even close.
In the dirt, ball 4. He came with a 3-2 curveball, and right as a board, carrying the tying run. Interesting pitch selection there. So now he'll face the left-hand hitters, Duda, Davis, and Tolley. Lucas today 0 for 3, struck out his last 2 at bats, but he has had the late inning magic in this series. As Frank Francisco, hoping for a 10th inning, gets up in the bullpen. Duda had the game-winning hit in the 8th inning on Monday, and he drove in an insurance run with an 8th inning hit last night. Now batting in the 9th with the tying run at first, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Duda is 3 for 3 in his career against Heath Bell. Ike Davis to follow. Mets won the first 2 of this series. Ball and a strike to Duda. Heath Bell, now 34 years old, signed a 4-year deal with the Marlins in the offseason.
David Wright so far has tried two attempts at a steal, but thrown out twice. I wouldn't run here with the 2 lefties up.
Well, both of them have the ability to end the game with 1 swing.
And you leave the hole open for Duda.
Plus, it's a little bit of a slow track out there with the rain falling. So,
even if it was a fast track, I would want to keep that hole open for Duda. Duda's been pulling the ball. So is Ike.
Well, Bell has had trouble throwing that curveball anywhere near the plate, and Duda's got to know that now on 2-1. And the fastball fouled off. He was ready for it.
Well, that was his pitch to hit right there. Ahead in the count, 2-1. Bell having real difficulty getting his curve over. Doesn't want to go 3-1. That's right down the pipe. That's just power again. Mano a mano. Go after him. He's going to put down. Oh, fastball away. Okay, here we go.
2-2 to Duda. And a check in on Wright, who's only about a step off the bag.
Yeah, David doesn't have a big lead over there at all.
And it's not like Bell has a superior move to first base. Hayes calls for the fastball. 2-2. Fouled away. Ike Davis on deck. Josh Tolley behind him.
May drop a hammer on him here. Yep.
And Bell stepping off. Two to Duda. Tries to hold, and he stopped it in time. It's 3-2.
No, do you send Wright? I'd hold him. Duda struck out too much. He's got to come with a fastball here. He cannot get his breaking ball over. He's gotten 1 breaking pitch over this entire the first 2 batters.
3-2 with nobody out. Wright runs. Duda grounds one down to first. Sanchez smothers it and makes the play. Oh, Sanchez, who's had a difficult series moving off the bag down there at first base, almost let that ball get by, but he managed to corral it.
Well, Terry Collins sets Wright loose, plays aggressive. I have no problem with that. And nice play by Sanchez. Boy, that would have been a double play. Well, maybe not with Sanchez diving.
So now the tying run is at second with 1 out, and Ike Davis the batter. And Ike is due for a big hit. He's 1 for 3 today. An infield single that Reyes probably should have caught back in the second. And again, Bell bounces that curveball and just is unable to throw it for a strike.
Well, I think he's geared up coming back here. New uniform, in division against his former team. You know, he likes to beat up on the Mets, but he's just throwing that curve in the dirt.
It's like he's hyperventilating a little bit.
This could be a good pitch for Ike. Got to throw a little cheddar cheese.
Ike's first ever at bat against Heath Bell. Reyes playing right behind right, so he can't get too far off the bag. And it's up and away, 2-0 to Davis. Got Josh Tolley standing on deck.
See, if I'm pitching right now, I'll go after Ike because he's in such a bad slump. I don't want to get behind the count, open base, walk Ike, where I got to pitch to Tolley, who's a line drive hitter and then red hot.
One thing to remember, behind Tolley is the pitcher spot in the 8th spot in the order. Inside, ball 3. And the Mets do not have a left-handed bat on the bench. They already used Baxter. They have Lutz, Turner, and Nickius available on the bench. And Turner already with a bat in his hands.
Now remember, this game could very easily be 3-1 right now. A blown call by C.B. Buckner, and Jose Reyes in that double play would have played it a run.
So now it's 3-0 to Davis with a tying run at second. And Ike takes it wide for ball 4. So Bell walks the ice-cold Ike Davis to bring up the red-hot Josh Tolley.
I just don't understand that.
And Randy St. Clair will take a trip to the mound. Walks by the Marlins bullpen have played a huge factor in this series already. No protection behind Heath Bell. And the Mets now have the tying and potential winning runs on base with 1 out.
Sometimes you've got to take your chances. You put yourself behind the 8 ball, 3-1. You got a struggling hitter. He wasn't even close with that fastball.
So now Tolley will come up. Josh is 1 for 3 today. He's reached base in every game he's played this year. He's got a 9-game hitting streak. 2 career at bats against Bell, 1 for 2. Wright the tying run at second. Davis the potential winning run at first. And Tolley takes a fastball for a strike.
See, my feeling right there as a hitter coming up is you've got a guy can't get a curveball over. I am sitting dead red first pitch, and I'm going to get a base hit and tie the ball game. Not trying to hit a 3-run home run. And now he's 0-1 taking. I don't agree with that philosophy.
Bell at this point may be reduced to just throwing fastballs, because he's shown no ability at all to get his curveball over today, and he certainly doesn't want to hang one in this spot. Justin Turner on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher.
And Reyes up the middle, and it's a big hole for Tolley to poke through between third and short.
And that fastball's wide, and it's 2-1. So Bell throwing 3 fastballs in a row, and now behind to Tolley.
Good one to hit.
An extra base hit could win it for New York. And Tolley lays off, and it's ball 3. Well, a walk would push the tying run to third with 1 out and move the winning run to second. Bell has already walked 2 in the inning.
Guillen's wondering where those pitches are.
He's yelling at Dale Scott. He keeps saying, Dale, Dale. No reaction. 3-1 now to Tolley. And he fouls it back. And he got his fastball to hit. Now it's 3-2. Bell has gone to a 3-ball count to all 4 batters he's faced in the inning. He's walked 2 of them. Three and 2 to Josh Tolley.
Oh,
ball 4,
boy.
and the bases are loaded.
Boy, oh boy. This is deja vu all over again. It's hard to believe.
So now the Mets have the tying run at third. They've got the potential winning run at second. And Justin Turner, who has been money with runners in scoring position since he got here last year, coming to the plate. Turner batting for Ramon Ramirez, who turned in 2 scoreless innings of relief. And now trying to get Ramirez a win.
Quite frankly, you deserve an L. And take a look at the defense. They are playing back for 2, and they're really shallow in that outfield center and right.
And Turner takes a fastball for a strike. Scott Hairston's in the number 9 spot in the order. He's on deck. 350 with runners in scoring position last year, 429 this year on 3 for 7.
A little more dicey throwing the curveball. He's been throwing in the dirt with the bases loaded.
And he fouls it back. I think he's eschewed the curveball completely now.
Well, he's ahead in the count, but he's been so much in the dirt. The only curveball he got over was to right, the second pitch.
Hairston to follow. Bell, who's been struggling to throw strikes, is ahead in the count on Turner 0-2. Wright the tying run at third. Davis the winning run at second. And Turner.
Good cut.
Fouls it back.
Good cut. So tell me, why didn't Bell just do this from the get-go?
Well, he normally gets a lot of mileage out of his curveball, but at this moment he is a 1-pitch pitcher. Would he risk a curve here and the possibility of a wild pitch?
He certainly could, but we'll see.
Bases loaded, 1 out. And Turner takes the fastball high.
He's a little more cautious here. He's afraid to throw that curve.
Well, since Randy St. Clair went to the mound, he has not thrown a curveball. He's thrown 10 straight fastballs to Tolle and Turner.
This is a situation where you raise your sights to get the curve over. You might hang it.
Here's the 1-2. And Turner fouls back another fastball. As a hitter in this situation, Keith, can you rule out the curve?
No, you're 0-2. You're 1-2. You're behind the count. You got to go up the middle. All that's needed is a base hit. Even if it's a home run situation where you've got, when you're 1-2, you've just got to continue the rally. Base hit wins the ball game here. Up the middle, protecting the plate.
Remember, that grass is getting a little wet in the outfield. On a base hit, it might slow down a lot. Here's the 1-2. In the dirt and stopped beautifully by Hayes to keep the tying run from scoring. Wow.
He just cannot. Everyone's been right here. He's bounced it. And outside, missing badly. Nice play.
Hayes almost went too far. That went off his arm, not his chest protector. David alert at third in case that ball got behind Hayes. So after 10 straight fastballs, Bell finally threw a curve. Now it's 2-2 to Turner. Foul back. Heat from Bell. Turner's seen 7 pitches now, and he's had some good rips. Already 30 pitches in this inning from Bell. 3 walks and a ground out.
No, he's brought it all on himself.
And nobody up behind him in the bullpen. Ozzie Guillen will live and die with his closer. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Turner. Too high, ball 3.
Oh
my gosh.
With 3 walks already in the bag, it's 3-2.
Wow.
2 nights ago, 4 Marlin pitchers walked 4 in a row. Dell in danger of doing that all by himself. 3-2 to Turner. Fouled away. Quite a turn at bat for Justin Turner. Coughlin, Bonifacio, and Stanton. Stanton with by far the best arm and playing the shallowest of the 3. Dangling that arm like a latter-day Rod Beck. I think I'd be a little trepidatious too if I were Heath Bell.
Good time to step out. Pitcher in trouble.
10th pitch of the at-bat coming from Bell to Turner. Fouled off. Right off Brett Hayes and his mask. That'll jar you. Again, the 3-2. Breaking ball hit down the right field line. Slicing. Foul.
See what I said there, though, Gare? He didn't want to walk him. He threw the curve. And what did he do? He hung it. He threw it for a strike. A get-me-over curveball. He's lucky he didn't get hammered for a granny.
I am shocked that he threw that pitch.
That is, I knew it. If he was going to throw it, it was going to be up.
He's not going to throw it again.
No.
Heath Bell about to throw his 35th pitch of this 9th inning. And Turner popped it up. Hayes coming back for a look, but it's out of play.
How many pitches now?
Well, that's 12 in this at bat. It's still going.
Jeez.
Justin Turner coming in cold off the bench, but he's all heated up now. Right, the tying run at third. Davis, the potential winning run at second, ready to run like the wind. This will be the 13th pitch of the at-bat. Ball 4, and the game is tied. Can you believe that? Second time in 3 nights that the Marlins bullpen has walked 4 in a row. And the game is even at 2, and the winning run now stands at third with 1 out.
I've never seen it. Well, Heath Bell blinked. Nice at bat, Justin. Look at the reaction.
So now, if you're Ozzie Guillen, you have to bring your infield and your outfield in. And remember, he has nobody up in the bullpen behind Bell.
First ball, fastball hitting.
Here's Hairston, and he takes low and outside. No, he caught the corner. That's a wide strike called by Dale Scott. Hairston, second at bat of the game. Flied out to left in the 8th inning against Randy Choate.
Boy, this is just embarrassing.
That's a fly ball away from a win with Davis at third base and 1 out. Chasing a high fastball that time, Hairston in a 2-strike hole.
A little over anxious.
Now remember, Bell got ahead on Turner 0-2. But then Turner worked it full, fouled off pitch after pitch, and worked out the game-tying walk, bringing home David Wright. So Bell has blown his 3rd save of the year already for Miami after signing the big contract. Hairston lifts one foul. Behind Hairston is Kirk Neuenhuis.
Hairston is not the speediest guy in the world, so you probably could turn a double play against him, but the Marlins not taking that chance, bringing their infield all the way in.
They got to cut the run off of the plate, Garrett.
So did the Mets.
This is unbelievable. 2 of the 3 games seeing this. Major League Baseball.
Hairston won't bite on the curveball. 1-2. 40 pitches now for Heath Bell, and there's nobody up behind him. So he's finishing this inning no matter what happens. Here's the 1-2 to Hairston. And again he lays off the curve, and it's 2-2.
He cannot get it over, and he doesn't want to go 3-2. Don't get over anxious. Scott tends to get a little over anxious. There's the bullpen. There's no one there. There's no help.
The only thing it's getting is wet.
Scott can chase that high one. Scott is stayed just very compact.
His former Padre teammate on the mound. The pitch and the curveball pulled foul.
And a get me over curve. He's dropping down. He's got his elbow down. It's just a little helicopter coming in.
He's getting under that.
Yeah, that's because it's easy to throw a strike. He's not getting the down bite over the top. He's in the dirt with it. If you're going to get beat with your fastball.
Bell has walked 4 batters in the bottom of the 9th, enabling the Mets to tie it. Now Hairston trying to win it. And he fouls it back. Quick bat on the fastball. Still 2-2. Boy, the Mets belong at bats. 13 pitches to Turner. Hairston's already seen 7 and still going.
And the Marlins do not have an off day tomorrow, and their closer is just thrown almost had close to 50 pitches.
He might be out till Sunday.
Jeez.
43 pitches under his belt, and still a lot of heavy lifting to do for Bell if he's going to get this game to the 10th. Steve Cishek finally gets up. 2-2 to Hairston. Tapper down toward first. Sanchez has it, comes home, gets the force, and that's all they'll get. So that's the second out of the inning. Ike is erased on the 3-2 force play.
Well, just tied him up upstairs. I said he likes to chase that high one, Hairston. And Ike doesn't have any speed to speak of, so that's an easy one.
Sanchez took his time and made sure, knowing they had no chance for a double play. So now Kirk Neuenhuis will get a chance to win it. Tolle is now the winning run at third, but now there are 2 outs, so the infield will drop back, and the outfield can drop back as well. Neuenhuis today is 2 for 4, a single and a triple. Well up high for ball 1. Well, at what point does a guy who's used to throwing 1 inning at a time run out of gas?
Well, he's a horse, but I tell you what, he's
not used to throwing 45 pitches in an inning.
And Neuenhuis right now stayed disciplined. I know he's going to take a pitcher.
Neuenhuis, remember, on Saturday came up in a similar spot. It was 1 out, and he hit the ground ball against the Giants that resulted in the Buster Posey throwing error and the winning run scoring. Drive in the air to right field. Stanton going back, and it's over his head, and the Mets win it. Kirk Neuenhuis with a walk-off hit, and the Mets rally against Heath Bell in the bottom of the 9th, and they sweep the Marlins, winning it 3-2. The Mets had been 0 for the season with the bases loaded, 0 for 15 before Kirk Neuenhuis delivered the game winner.
Well, he showed me something here. I thought he was going to take, like a lot of hitters do today, you got a pitcher in trouble, 1-0, you're going to get a fastball to hit, be aggressive, and nicely done, Kirk Neuenhuis. Boy, the Marlins have just got to be reeling.
Well, the
Mets with their third walk-off victory of the season, their second on this homestand, and they complete a sweep of the Marlins. Neuenhuis comes through in a big spot with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth after Heath Bell had opened the door with 4 straight walks to tie the game. Neuenhuis delivers the capper.
Well, he continues to show what he can do. He's going to play. And nicely done.
Well, there's your game summary. The Mets rally for 2 in the bottom of the ninth to go to 11-8 on the year. They finish off a winning homestand. John Neese pitched beautifully. Ramon Ramirez 2 scoreless innings to get the win in relief. And Heath Bell coming back to Citi Field.